You really believe that Teofimo Lopez is trash?
No, not at all. Not at all. Teofimo is a good fighter. You know, he's very talented. He's very athletic. You know, he's always rose to the occasion in these big moments like this. But Shakur is just on a whole nother level. And this Saturday, he's going to prove it.
I think this could be the first time that Shakur Stevenson has somebody who can match him with athletic ability. Pure ability, pure speed, quickness, quick twitch, athletic ability that can match him. That I think Teofimo has the speed, the legs, the quickness, and he's got pop too with it. Where
this is not just a fight prediction. This is a verbal war room with boxing gloves on the table and reputations on the line. Boxing pros, trainers, former champions, and loudmouth analysts are throwing out final predictions like lottery numbers. And somebody's about to look like a genius while somebody else looks like they predicted with a blindfold and a dartboard. Teofimo versus Shakur isn't just a matchup. It's a style clash so sharp it could cut. Wi-Fi signals, you've got one side saying this will be a masterclass, the other side saying it'll be a meltdown, and a third group saying, I'm not. Picking, I value my mentions too much, because when this fight happens, wrong predictions will age like milk in a desert. Careers won't end, but credibility might need life support. The breakdowns are getting spicy. The takes are getting reckless. The confidence is getting suspicious. Some experts are talking like they've already seen the future replay. Others are hedging so hard they're basically predicting something will happen. This isn't analysis anymore. This is prophecy with hand wraps, and what the pros are saying behind the scenes. Way wilder than the polite interviews. The moment the words Teofimo Lopez versus Shakur Stevenson started circulating in serious prediction talk, the boxing world didn't react. It divided like a superhero movie fandom after a controversial casting choice. Trainers, former champs, sparring partners, gym insiders, and microphone heavy. Analysts all stepped forward with final predictions that sounded less like analysis and more like courtroom verdicts. Nobody whispered. Everybody declared. Quiet. Takes got buried. Loud takes got quoted. This matchup isn't being treated like a normal fight. It's being treated like a boxing IQ exam where half the experts are turning in opposite answers with full confidence. On one side, you've got the Shakur technicians, the footwork professors, the defense purists, the jab mathematicians saying this turns into a hits hand don't gets hit seminar with extra punishment for mistakes. On the other side, you've got the Teofimo believers, the explosion economists, the timing gamblers, the momentum preachers, saying all that finesse collapses once real power starts cashing checks. And the tone. Oh, the tone is spicy. Some pros are predicting outcomes, like they're announcing weather disasters. He won't see the final bell. He'll get schooled. He'll get broken down. Nobody says it'll be competitive. Apparently, moderation has been banned from fight talk. Background matters here, and the pros keep bringing it up like evidence in a trial. Teofimo's reputation as a momentum disruptor gets mentioned every 5 minutes. Analysts point to his history of shocking expectations and flipping pre-fight narratives upside down. They say he doesn't just fight opponents, he interrupts their plans mid-sentence. According to his supporters, he turns chess matches into bar fights and makes comfort zones illegal. Meanwhile, the Shakur supporters talk about ring control like it's a sacred art form. They describe his defense like a security system with motion sensors and backup generators. They say trying to outthink him is like trying to win a debate against a calculator. Words like distance, angles, and discipline get repeated like a chant. To them, this isn't a brawl, it's a thesis defense with gloves. What makes the predictions even louder is stylistic contrast. This isn't puncher versus puncher or mover versus mover. This is volatility versus precision. Chaos versus calibration. One side says pressure breaks patterns. The other says patterns neutralize pressure. It's philosophical warfare disguised as sports commentary. Some trainers have gone full dramatic mode. One said, paraphrasing the energy, that if Teofimo lands clean early, the entire fight script gets shredded and rewritten mid-round. Another argued that if Shakur controls tempo for 3 rounds straight, frustration will start punching. Before Teofimo does, these aren't predictions, they're fight fan fiction with credentials. Then you've got the prediction hedgers. The experts trying to sound bold and safe at the same time. If it goes long, this guy. If it gets wild, that guy. If there's an adjustment, watch the other one. That's not a prediction, that's a weather forecast written by a lawyer. But even the careful talk adds fuel because fans translate caution as hidden doubt. Gym rumors, the most dangerous species of boxing information, also entered the chat. You know the type. I heard from someone who heard from someone who was near a sparring session once. Suddenly people are quoting training stories like classified intelligence. Half of it is probably exaggerated. The other half is definitely exaggerated. But all of it spreads like wildfire with hand wraps. The sarcasm from veteran fighters has been especially sharp. A few retired champs basically said modern fans are overthinking it. Their stance. Styles matter, but punches matter more. Short sentence. Heavy implication. Translation: all your diagrams get erased if the wrong shot lands. Meanwhile, debate shows and boxing channels turn this prediction war into daily programming. Panels argue like it's a political debate with mouthguards. Slow-motion clips get replayed like ancient prophecy footage. Every defensive slip, every offensive burst, every past round gets analyzed like it holds the secret code. Fan reactions only made it louder. Comment sections became prediction casinos. People aren't just picking winners, they're predicting. Round numbers, punch counts, emotional breakdowns, and corner advice. Confidence levels are through the roof. Accuracy levels will be determined later and ignored if incorrect. Another layer of controversy comes from resume comparison arguments. One side says proven against elite power equals advantage. The other side says consistent technical dominance equals control. The debate keeps looping because both arguments sound smart and neither side plans to surrender. What's truly wild is how personal some predictions sound. Certain pros aren't just picking. They're defending their pick like family honor is attached. Voices get louder. Words get sharper. You'd think the loser of the prediction has to donate their belts. And underneath all the noise sits the real tension. This is a credibility trap. Bold predictions build clout, if correct, and haunt you if wrong. That's why the loudest voices are either extremely certain or extremely entertaining. Sometimes both. Nobody wants to be the clip that ages badly, but somebody always is. The closer this hypothetical fight talk gets to reality, the more extreme the forecasts become. Middle ground opinions are disappearing. Nuanced takes are getting booed. It's either domination or destruction, depending on which microphone is active. One thing is certain. The prediction war is already a fight of its own. Pride is in the ring. Ego is on the scorecards. And when the actual bell rings someday, half these expert takes are going to need witness protection. Now, the prediction war didn't just grow, it mutated. What started as expert analysis turned into a full-blown boxing prophecy circus with microphones, egos, and slow-motion clips, treated like ancient scrolls. Every new interview added gasoline. Every podcast added thunder. Every retired fighter with a camera angle and a memory suddenly became Nostradamus with hand wraps. This stopped being who wins and became who dares to be loudest about it. The twist. The pros don't even agree on how the fight would look for more than 2 rounds. One camp says it becomes a surgical dissection, clean touches, defensive wizardry, frustration, building like unpaid parking tickets. Another camp says it turns into controlled chaos traps, counters, and explosive momentum swings that flip the narrative mid-broadcast. Same matchup. Two completely different movies. Breakdown channels started running side-by-side footage like crime lab technicians, frame-by-frame comparisons, punch selection charts, foot placement diagrams. I've seen less detail in architectural blueprints. According to half these analysts, you can predict the entire fight by pausing at the right ankle angle in a clip from 3 years ago. Sure, because boxing never changes and fighters never adjust. Totally normal thinking. Then came the style math debates, and, oh, they got dramatic. One group argues that elite defensive timing turns aggression into wasted energy. They say, missing punches is more exhausting than throwing them, and frustration is the silent judge on the scorecards. Another group fires back, saying power erases precision when it lands clean. Their motto is basically, you can dodge 10, but number 11 changes your life. Some former champions added spice by disagreeing with each other publicly. Nothing makes fans happier than legends arguing predictions like uncles at a barbecue. One says it's a technical shutdown. Another says it's an upset waiting to happen. Suddenly, fans aren't just picking fighters. They're drafting retired champs like prediction team captains, and the confidence levels. Astronomical, we're talking prediction speeches delivered like victory parades. No hesitation, no wiggle room. Just verbal chest thumping with statistics attached. A few analysts are talking like they already watched the fight and are annoyed you haven't caught up yet. Social media, course, turned this into meme warfare. Edits started circulating, showing defensive highlights with access denied. Graphics on the other side, explosive knockout clips with captions like one-button shutdown. Subtlety has left the building and taken the elevator music with it. Betting talk entered the conversation too, and whenever odds show up, emotions get louder. Suddenly, predictions aren't just opinions, they're investments with attitude. People defend their pick like they've got emotional stock options. Nobody says, I might be wrong. They say, lock it in. Another escalation point came from sparring mythology, the most exaggerated genre in combat sports storytelling. Stories appeared about who looked sharp in what gym, against which partner, during which round, on which day, with what gloves. Completely unverifiable. Extremely confident. Spread at the speed of Wi-Fi. Sparring stories are boxing folklore. Half truth, half legend, all volume. Prominent trainers added layered takes that sounded like psychological thrillers. They talked about composure under fire, adaptability under pressure, and ring IQ under chaos. One coach basically argued that this matchup would be decided by who solves the puzzle first. Another said puzzles are useless when the table gets flipped. Philosophical violence, beautifully packaged. The fan base didn't just react, they formed digital armies. Clip threads. Looking. Some fans posted 10-tweet breakdowns with diagrams. Others posted one sentence. He gets cooked. Both. Got engagement. Effort is optional. Confidence is mandatory. Pop culture comparisons went completely off the rails. Some called it a chess grandmaster versus a speed chess gambler. Others compared it to a sniper versus a storm. One viral comment said it's like bringing a physics textbook to a lightning fight. Over the top? Yes. Perfectly on brand. Also yes. Debate shows kept pushing the temperature higher by forcing binary answers. No nuance allowed. Pick one. Say it loud, defend it aggressively. That format alone guarantees more heat than light, which, coincidentally, is exactly what goes viral. What really made this stage explosive is that reputations of the predictors themselves became part of the stakes. If a well-known analyst picks wrong, the clip lives forever. Fans bookmark bad takes like trophies. Receipts culture never sleeps. Today's bold prediction is tomorrow's reaction meme. Some smarter voices try to introduce moderation, talking about adjustment rounds, tactical shifts, and momentum changes. And the audience responded by saying, "Cool story, pick a side." Nuance doesn't trend. Certainty does, even if it's wrong later. The most interesting divide is philosophical. Does elite defense control elite offense, or does elite offense eventually break elite defense? That question has split experts like a fault line. And nobody is budging. Each side treats their answer like scientific law carved into stone tablets by the boxing gods. Meanwhile, interviewers keep asking fighters adjacent to the situation for picks, and you can see the hesitation. Some answer carefully, like diplomats. Others swing verbally, like they're already on the undercard. A prediction microphone is more dangerous than it looks. At this point, the prediction ecosystem is louder than some actual fight weeks. And we're still not at consequences yet, just escalation. Because when the fight finally happens, if it happens, the result won't just crown a winner. It will expose a whole cemetery of bad predictions. Now, let's talk about the part nobody likes to admit, but everybody secretly waits for. The aftermath economy. 'Cause when a mega-level matchup like Teofimo versus Shakur gets this many bold final predictions, the real second fight happens after the bell. It's not in the ring, in the receipts. It's in the clips. In the comment sections where confidence gets replayed in high definition and wrong takes get preserved like museum artifacts. When the outcome lands, however it lands, somebody's prediction highlight reel becomes a genius montage, and somebody else's becomes a comedy special. There is no middle shelf. You either called it perfectly or please delete your channel. Boxing fans forgive losses faster than they forgive bad predictions. A fighter can recover in one bout. An analyst's bad take lives forever with TIMESTAs. This is where reputations of the loudest predictors take body shots. The ones who shouted. Certainty instead of possibility will feel the impact first. Because boldness builds attention, but accuracy builds legacy. And when those two don't match, the internet turns into a courtroom with autoplay enabled. Old clips get reposted with siren emojis and circus music. If Teofimo were to dominate, the narrative becomes explosive in one direction. Suddenly, all the power warning voices look prophetic. Every analyst who said styles collapse under pressure becomes a genius overnight. Their clips get reposted like motivational speeches. Meanwhile, the technicians who promised a shutout get labeled overthinkers with Wi-Fi. That's how fast the pendulum swings. If Shakur were to control the fight, the opposite legend forms just as fast. Defensive mastery becomes holy scripture. Precision becomes the headline. Distance control becomes the buzzword of the month. The voices who predicted a boxing clinic will walk around like they cracked a secret code. And the power prophets will be accused of confusing aggression with effectiveness. But here's the deeper consequence. Matchmaking politics change after fights like this. Outcomes don't just affect belts and rankings. They affect negotiations, future opponents, and promotional confidence. A decisive win in a high-stakes style clash doesn't just say he won. It says build around him. That's business gravity. Promoters start talking differently. Broadcasters start framing differently. Opponents start calling names differently. One result can change who gets avoided and who gets chased. Boxing history is full of fights that didn't just crown a winner. They rearranged the hallway traffic. There's also the style copycat effect. When a high-profile matchup is won in a very specific way, gyms everywhere start preaching that style like a new religion. If pressure breaks defense, pressure becomes trendy. If defense neutralizes offense, slick movement becomes the new obsession. Amateur coaches will be yelling "do it like that" within a week. Public perception of risk also shifts. Fighters watching closely adjust their willingness to engage certain styles. A dominant performance can make a whole division more cautious. Nobody says it publicly, but matchmaking spreadsheets start getting emotional footnotes. And let's not ignore relationship dynamics between the loudest expert voices. When pros publicly disagree this hard, somebody's pride gets dented later. You'll see softer tones, joke deflections, or well, stylistically I meant, speeches after the result. Verbal backpedaling is an Olympic sport after prediction. Disasters. Fan memory plays a brutal role too. Boxing fans are historians with screenshot folders. They will bring up your wrong prediction 3 years later under an unrelated post just for cardio. There is no statute of limitations on confident nonsense. Digital memory has championship stamina. Another fascinating consequence is how the fighters themselves get rebranded by outcome. One becomes proven at elite level against that style. The other becomes needs adjustment against that style. Same careers, same skills, different labels, all decided by one night's narrative. Media framing amplifies this effect. Headlines don't say competitive tactical variation with situational momentum shifts. Headlines say exposed or outclassed. Subtlety doesn't sell thumbnails. Drama does. So whatever happens will be packaged like a movie ending. Not a technical report. The prediction chaos also exposes something uncomfortable about fight. Analysis culture. A lot of people don't actually hate being wrong if they were entertaining. Volume builds platform. Accuracy builds respect. Many choose volume first. That's why outrageous takes never go extinct. They reproduce through engagement. But occasionally, just occasionally, a perfectly called prediction hits. And that analyst dines out on that clip for the next decade. Panels invite them more. Audiences trust them more. Their words gain extra weight. One correct mega fight call can upgrade your microphone permanently, and still, even with all this uncertainty, remains king. Because styles evolve mid-fight. Adjustments happen, injuries appear, timing shifts, game plans break. That's why boxing refuses to be fully predicted, no matter how many arrows get drawn on paused footage. Which brings us to the final uncomfortable truth. This fight, real or hypothetical, isn't just boxer versus boxer. It's prediction versus reality, ego versus outcome, certainty versus chaos. And chaos has a fantastic win-loss record. No matter who wins, half the experts fall with their takes. And the replay button will be merciless. And there you have it. Predictions thrown like power shots, expert egos on the ropes, and enough bold takes to fill a boxing hall of fame and a boxing hall of shame at the same time. This isn't just a fight, it's a credibility cage match for every loud voice with a microphone and a confident sentence. When this showdown finally writes its result, somebody's getting crowned a genius and somebody's getting turned into a replay meme with dramatic music. Now it's your turn to step into the prediction ring. I want your pick, and don't give me that it depends smoothie answer. Who wins? How early shock or late masterclass? Tactical shutdown or explosive interruption? Drop your full breakdown in the comments and defend it like your reputation is on the scorecards. Because when the result lands, we're scrolling back and checking receipts like auditors with boxing gloves. If this breakdown hit harder than a perfectly timed counter, smash that like button like it owes you sparring money. Subscribe like your fight IQ depends on it. Because here, we don't just cover boxing, we pressure test the narratives. Challenge the loud takes and drag shaky predictions into the light. Bring your pick, bring your argument, bring your boldness. Punch press where predictions get loud and receipts get low.